Why are we so against new information? Coming up next on the Weapon H All in One podcast. Okay, welcome back to the Weapon H All in One podcast. I'm your host, Herman Alston. Today we're going to get into why are we so against new information. And what made me want to speak on this today is, I don't know if many of you guys have seen or not. They're using a new technology, and it's called SAR, which is synthetic aperture radar. And what this technology has done, it uses its technology, and it's the scan underneath the pyramids in Egypt, and it's showing that there can be vast tunnels, caves, and possibly even structures underneath the pyramids. The technology claims to have gone about 2,000 feet, even as much as 4,000 feet below. And these type of things have been talked about for a long time, because I mean, you see in some of the books, especially if you do any reading on the Egyptian god Thoth. He talked long ago about the halls of Amenti. He spoke about a city being underneath the pyramids, and it was all just looked at as a bunch of speculation. And rightfully so, because I guess they didn't have any type of proof. But there are things that also that they go by the standard, which doesn't hold water either. Like of them just being a pyramid. So, I mean, just them being a tomb, sorry. And that doesn't really hold up compared to any of the other tombs. And I've been inside the pyramids, so I got to see firsthand what this sarcophagus is supposed to look like. And it is way too small to be the sarcophagus of any of the kings from that era. Even if the people were a lot shorter, you got to remember, the casket goes inside the sarcophagus. So it would actually, even if the person was kind of small, it would still have to be a whole lot bigger than this supposed sarcophagus you see in the king's chamber. So this technology went and it used technology coming from a satellite, be able to penetrate, and it works similar to what sonar would be on the ocean floor. And it's showing like what would be a hall, which could lay claim to the whole halls of Amenti theory that you've heard about for so many years. And seeing all of this, you would think would make you a bit excited. And I understand it's a new technology. May not be totally proven yet, but in my opinion, you would think that, man, they may have possibly found something. Let's work on trying to find out if one, this technology is good, and two, if it is, maybe the things that we've learned and we've known all our lives may not be accurate. And that is one of the reasons why I believe that it's such a pushback, because one, people don't like to change what they believed in most of their life. People don't like to change beliefs. And it's, I get it. It's not an easy thing to change belief. But when you have something of this nature, I don't even want to call it evidence yet, but as far as my eyes, it's evidence. You would want to find out more about it, not just come out and just dismiss it. Oh, this is false. This is not that. This is not this. If it is, okay, maybe. But don't you think you would owe it to at least find out? Because just as much as you're saying that the technology and there's no way that this is possible, and you said they don't have scientific journals, they haven't put it in the proper form yet. Just as much as you're saying it's malarkey, you're doing just the same by dismissing it without any type of proof yourself. Did you go and check out what the technology is about? Did you get in depth about what this technology could possibly do? Did you do any of that before you just jumped right out the window and said it was not accurate, it was no good, it's not a good technology without knowing it? So what makes what you're saying any different from what the people who use the technology and their claims are? And that just goes to a lot of the things that we have nowadays. Anything that seems to be based on a belief system and has been believed for so long, it's like people don't want to hear nothing that can possibly change that thought process or change that belief. Me, on the other hand, I've always been one to always challenge my beliefs because new stuff come up all the time. How are we ever going to advance if all we do is think the same and we're not trying different things? I have always been, well, I don't even want to say taught, self-taught, to always tend to challenge a lot. So you see something great, all right, we accept that for the moment, but when I see new information come out, it's a definite possibility that my thought process can change about something just because I'm open-minded enough to be able to take in that new technology. Maybe it's not the case. Maybe it isn't any good, but I'm going to give it that chance if it's something that I think has a legitimate chance. And I guess as far as the debunkers or the people who are against it are concerned, they don't believe it's a legit chance at all. But can you at least explain how is it possible that they were able to get these images? How did these images come up? Can you show that they're false images? Can you show that the technique that they use wouldn't be able to possibly come up with these type of things, with these type of pictures, that scans that they were able to get? So it makes you sit back and wonder why such a big fight. And we see this all the time. People do not want to change their beliefs. And sometimes you can give them exact proof and they still will push back against it. Now, without going into a whole lot of what the SAR actually does, but because their biggest thing is the GPR system, which is normally used, it only goes a limited amount of range. It doesn't really get through dense material that much. So unlike the GPR, which injects energy directly into the ground, the SAR transmits photon modulated electromagnetic bursts from space and records the echoes that reflect off the Earth's surface. And at first glance, it appears to provide only superficial information, but as the received signals are predominantly reflections from the surface. However, this assumption overlooks a critical aspect of the SAR data processing. The satellite moves so fast that the echo it sends back changes in frequency, spreading over a wide range from 0 Hz to tens of kilohertz. This effect is crucial for creating the clear SAR images, especially for focusing in azimuth, which is side-to-side direction. So I'm not gonna go super deep into it, but any type of technology that is new definitely has to be peer reviewed, and after the findings, they will have to publish it typically. But they went with the press conference first to get the news out there that as of a possible findings, and I get it because it's exciting news. So for me, even as someone who's traditional, but I guess I'm not traditional, so I guess I don't really know. But I would think, even as a traditionalist, something like this is some very exciting news. Whether you think it's true or not, I would definitely want to look into this because you never know. Now, what if it comes out that these images did capture what it claims to have captured? Then what? Are these people are the same people who are fighting it now? Who's on the other side of this fence? Will they be willing to accept it? Or will they still try to find a way to make it seem like this is inaccurate? In my thoughts, they will stay on the side of no matter what they see, they're going to try to prove it that it does, or say it doesn't work, whether they have the proof that it's actually good or not, because they have a system in place. They are making a lot of money. They're made a lot of them made their careers. A lot of them made their bones off of the original teachings. But then, so their names will, I don't want to say be cast aside, but it won't be held as likely because now found something better. And so people, the ego seems to just really get in the way of finding out what may be possible or not. You can't just dismiss it as science fiction. I mean, it may not be, in the end, it may come out that it's not very accurate. But take the time to find out that it's accurate. Just like you tell them to take their time to announce, it should be the same. Take your time to denounce it. Both sides get together, and you have to get together because they're willing. The people who made the findings actually said they're willing to work with the other side to show their technology and how it does work, and whatever the case may be. But the other side doesn't seem willing to even want to come to the table, and that's where I have a problem. Why not come to the table? Express what you feel is not true, and then let them show you the work. Because this is another form of you can have as a peer reviewer. They're reviewing it to the highest forms. The people who run the Department of Antiquities in Egypt. Because we already know there's been over the years so many narratives that's been put in place that we know are not true. Like they have a way they almost make believe where they'll make you believe that Egypt's not even part of Africa. It's part of the Middle East, but we know this is an African country. The people who were there were Africans. You can look at the pictures because some of the hieroglyphics when you go to the Valley of the Kings or Aswan, or wherever you go, you see the color of the people on these, because some of the color is still vibrant and still very good to this day. The color is not like people who are there now. So, but you leave it in movies, you leave it in film, you leave it in books, you leave it in pictures. You all like to see this narrative of a different skin tone of the people. And we already know that that's not the case. But enough of them say it, now you have this narrative where they will almost make you believe that it's not an African country. And it makes you wonder why. What is the purpose? Why is it that they fight so hard to make it not seem like it's African. We know with the land of Kim, which is the original name for Egypt, we know how far advanced these people were. They were a lot more advanced than they are given credit for. You have so many things of evidence of proof that they'll try to make up stories for. Like, I can't remember exactly where it is right now, when you see the hieroglyphics where it looks like a helicopter, spaceship, blah, 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 from way back then. What is their reason for that? Oh, they wrote over and they tried to redo this and redo that, and this is how it ended up coming out. And quite a few people bought it. Again, I saw it close up. I don't know about that. That doesn't seem feasible at all. It seems like it's exactly what it is. Whether it existed at that time frame or whoever did it had the ability to see into the future, or just, people were clairvoyant, it doesn't matter. It's not the case. But they will try to debunk it. They seem so hell-bent on making this place of fascination, this place of advancement of systems that to this day we still can't understand. When you look at the mummification process, all of these things that they were doing centuries ago, we still can't replicate to this day. And they can do all these things, but yet they try to paint them at times as primitive people. And you wonder, if they didn't have the skin tone, would it be looked at a little differently? It's like they don't want to give the black people credit for the things that they were doing. They were way ahead of time. Even you look at today, a lot of the inventions that were patented by whites, blacks played major parts in creating the vast majority of those inventions. But as time go on, they start to push them out, and the people who make the money off of it are the ones that gets the full credit. No different from what you see there in Egypt. So I'll be keeping an eye out for this, and I'll be updating you as I get new information. So again, I'd like to thank you for joining in. Another episode of Weapon H All-in-One Podcast with your host, Herman Austin. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're new, and comments are always welcome. See you guys soon.